Well, hello and good morning and welcome. Welcome to sunny Redmond. It's summer in Seattle, you can tell. The rain is a little bit warmer. Welcome to Microsoft, and more importantly, welcome to the Microsoft Research Faculty Summit. I am delighted to be your host here for the next couple of days and the MC for your event. I was delighted actually to see many of you at the welcome reception last night. I hope you had a chance to enjoy that as much as I did, meeting some new people, renewing some old acquaintances. I hope that that's the start of a really wonderful experience for us all over the next 2 days. I am Sandy Blythe. I run the outreach for research at Microsoft. Around the world, outreach people, our programs and resources are intended to create and maintain a really collaborative, rich environment where Microsoft and academia can work together on research areas of interest and advance the state of the art. And that's really foundational to helping Microsoft and Microsoft Research achieve the vision for MSR, which is to be a basic, open research facility in the best academic traditions. You know us. We publish openly. We publish more than any industrial technology lab in the world. We publish in peer-reviewed journals and at top conferences. We make our data sets available for transparency and reproducibility. I'd encourage you to become familiar with MSR's Open Data Repository, where we make many of those MSR data sets available, as well as the recently announced Azure Open Data Sets for more public data sets. And in publishing, the majority of our papers are done with an external academic collaborator. So it truly is the best academic tradition that we hold ourselves to in helping to advance the state of the art. I'm very excited to have you here. We've also got some press that will be joining us over the next couple of days, so you're aware. But Faculty Summit has really been a year in the planning, and because of the dependency and the engagement that we have with academia, it's a special event for us. It's something that we look forward to throughout the course of the year. It's a special event because we get to renew old acquaintances and get to meet some new people. We have a group of attendees, about 250 external academics and researchers from around the world. We've got attendees from 20 countries around the world, about 125 institutions. So a really rich diversity of thought and experience that I think makes this a really unique event. It's also a special anniversary for us with the Faculty Summit. This is our 20th Faculty Summit that we've done here in Redmond. And so it's an opportunity not only for us to look forward topically with the future of work, but also to look back over the past 20 years that we have done work together. You've seen we have some special guests later on tonight. As our closing talk, we'll have an opportunity to have a conversation with Bill Gates, who is the founder of Microsoft and really the chief sponsor of MSR, who made a remarkable commitment to long-term research when, it was a little company with a challenging purpose. And it's remarkable that we have been able to sustain that investment at Microsoft and with each of you. And I'm excited for us to all have a chance to hear from Bill as not only he looks back, but looks forward on some of the topics of interest for us all. The summertime here is a time that's super busy for all of you. And I recognize that you've got a lot of demands, a lot of options that you can spend your time with. And so we're really grateful that you've chosen to spend your time with us over the next 2 days here at Faculty Summit. Please do let any of the Microsoft team know if there's anything that we can do to make this the best experience that we can for you. The agenda is crafted with your feedback in mind, from the topic, the future of work, to the way we lay out the agenda. So we have keynote speakers from both Microsoft and from outside institutions to give kind of broad overviews. We've got some breakout sessions that allow us to go deep on more specific topics. We've got plenty of time for networking. One of the best feedback that we get from attendees is that they really appreciate the chance to network with peers who have an interest in common research topics, to expand their networks and to gain the access to some really interesting feedback and challenging ideas. We've limited the attendance so we can make it a little bit more of an intimate event. So in addition to about 250 external attendees. We'll have probably about 100 to 150 Microsoft people who will be here over the course of the next 2 days. Those are Microsoft researchers, research leaders, and research and technology leaders from our product groups as well. And I hope you have the opportunity to engage with them, to hear about what we're doing, and also to give them the opportunity to hear about what you are doing. It's a super exciting time for us to focus on this topic, the future of work. There is so much going on, and not just in technology. There are all the attendant changes as a result of productivity technology advances on policy, regulation, ethics, and education. It's truly a momentous time, and one of the reasons that we were so excited to pick the topic of the future of work for this year's Faculty Summit. So let's get to work. Here's a quick snapshot of the agenda. Well, we've got a keynote this morning that I'm super excited. We have Jamie Tevan from Microsoft and Gloria Mark from the UC Irvine who will be here to get us started. You can see how the agenda flows. We'll be going into breakout sessions immediately across the hallway for topics as we go along through the day. You'll be able to find your way back to lunch where we had breakfast this morning. Also tomorrow, you'll see across or proximate to where we were having breakfast is a technology showcase, which will have 27 different booths highlighting some of the relevant research and researchers at MSR that we have ongoing. I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but lots of breakout sessions that give you the freedom and the flexibility to choose some topics that you would find interesting and to engage in a more intimate way. We also try and turn this into a fun and enjoyable social and networking event. So you can see after we have our conversation with Bill later today, we've got an opportunity to head to downtown Seattle for dinner at the Chihuly Gardens in Glass, and a special surprise experience that I'll describe in just a moment. You may have seen on the agenda for lunch today, we have something that we call one table, one topic, and you might be wondering what that is. Well, we have senior researchers and technology execs from our product groups who've been signed up to facilitate a conversation around topics of interest. This is a completely optional thing, but if you see a topic or an individual there that you'd like to get to know better, or you just want to talk amongst peers over lunch on something of common interest, go ahead and look for the table tent, the little notice on the tables, and have a seat and join your peers for a conversation focused around those things. Again, it's optional. If you'd like, just have a seat and enjoy a nice lunch with your peers before we come back for the breakout sessions. The one table, one topic, though, has historically been a really popular element to our agenda, and I encourage you to consider that as you like. You'll also see throughout the day here in the main tent, you saw it hopefully at breakfast, you'll see them on the monitors in the hallway, what we call a researcher spotlight. And this again is just another way, as we have a very diverse audience of attendees, for you to get to know both the research interests and a little bit about the people who are in attendance here. This is a fun way for us to introduce ourselves to each other. If you haven't seen Gloria Mark's researcher spotlight, I won't steal the surprise, but I will say that my esteem for this woman knows no bounds, and you'll see her researcher spotlight fun fact in a little while. As I say at dinner tonight, if you have never been to the Chihuly Gardens, it's a really special experience. Even those of us from Seattle who have the opportunity to go to the artist location and see just a remarkable work that Dale Chihuly and his students have produced. It's a really fun experience in addition to being a delightful location for dinner. So I'm excited for us to hop on the buses at the end of today and go down for a special experience. If you've not been there before, it's super. And if you have, you'll know how good it is. And I hope you enjoy an opportunity to revisit the Chihuly Garden. As a special experience, we're delighted to let you know that after dinner, we'll have some opportunities to head up to the refurbished Seattle Space Needle and have an opportunity for a private viewing of what I hope is some clearer skies in the Seattle skyline. It's just a breathtaking 360-degree view of the Emerald City. And there's a newly installed glass floor if you've got the nerve, I don't, to look down. I understand it's a very exciting view from up there. But we'll have 3 shifts after dinner, one at 9, one at 9:30, and one at 10 o'clock. If you'd love to go do that, it's a really fun experience. Don't look down. We'll have the last bus, we'll have buses leaving right at the end of dinner, but the last bus, I'll say, leaves at 10:45. If you miss the last bus at 10:45, welcome to Seattle. We do have Uber. I do want to take a moment just to refresh and introduce perhaps some of our existing fellowships and grants programs that MSR runs, as well as introduce some new programs that you might not be familiar with. I'll start with our Research Fellows program that is managed out of our India lab in Bangalore. We have a number of academics who've made the long flight from India. Thank you very much. I'm grateful to have you here. Looking forward to being back for the academic summit that we co-host with ACM India at the end of January this year. So thank you for making the trip. The Fellows program gives pre-doctoral students the opportunity to come in and spend 1 to 2 years in our labs. It's a cash stipend, but they also have the opportunity to work in the Bangalore lab next to Microsoft researchers and gain some real-world experience that they can take into the early part of their PhD program and their research careers. It has a long tradition of producing some really outstanding research, as that lab does in systems, in theories, in low resource environments, as well as supporting a new center that Outreach and MSR India have launched around social impact of cloud and AI technologies that we're very excited to have people contribute to. There is a new fellowship that we just recently announced here in North America called the Ada Lovelace Fellowship in honor of Countess of Lovelace. Really the world's first computer programmer, a woman who recognized the potential of the Babbage machine. It is intended to help foster the development of a more diverse community of students that are pursuing their PhDs in North America. And it recognizes that there are some special systematic or systemic obstacles, so it's an extension of our traditional PhD scholarship program, and it is a 3-year program, a full tuition, $42,000 annual stipend. You can see the inaugural class that we awarded here in 2019, as well as the dates for call for nominations for the next Ada Lovelace scholarship round. If you go to Microsoft.com/research and look for the drop-down box programs and events. But we're very excited to have really an upgraded fellowship program aimed at underrepresented groups in computer science. As I mentioned, we do have and will continue with our traditional research PhD fellowship. This is a 2-year program here in North America. Many of you have students, I'm sure, that have been recipients or are currently recipients of that. And again, the next date for the call for nominations for the PhD fellowship is on the website. Our MSR Asia lab, currently headquartered in Beijing, with an expanded lab that will be opening at the end of summer in Shanghai, which we're very excited about. And thank you for, I think, about 50 attendees, or excuse me, about 35 attendees from the Asia region have joined us here today in the Faculty Summit. Thank you for making the long trip. This is both a cash and an experiential opportunity where they not only get a stipend, but they have, again, the opportunity for an optional internship, attendance at things like the Asia Faculty Summit and academic environment, as well as some mentorship and some travel stipends. So again, a very rich, holistic approach to enabling technology leadership and entrepreneurs out of our Asia region. We have a dissertation grant. This is meant to get that kind of final push across the line for people, especially in underrepresented groups, to get their terminal degree. So it's, frequently it's that last mile that's so hard to get your dissertation completed and presented and win your degree. And so this is a cash stipend that helps get that individual across the line and into either an academic or industrial research career. We have, in addition to some new scholarships, we brought back some old fellowships that were very popular. And really, in looking back at the history of the Faculty Fellowship, we saw some remarkable talent that has gone on to do some fantastic research work. And it was very inspiring for us to see what our support early in career had been able to do, and we're delighted to have brought that back again this year. So the Microsoft Research Faculty Fellowship is a 2-year, $100,000 per year grant to those early in career, much like an NSF career award, to help them get started on what we believe will be a really promising and impactful research career. And I'm delighted, if you haven't seen, this was the first class of the renewed faculty fellowship that we made awards to earlier this year. If you know them or you see them, congratulate them. We are thrilled to be associated with young researchers of this caliber. There's also a new fellowship from our education team in Microsoft. We call it the Investigator Fellowship. It is also 2 years, $100,000 each year, and it's intended to support researchers and educators who are using Azure in interesting ways for their research and educational purposes. Again, that's new. It's not a Microsoft Research Fellowship. It's from our education group, and we're delighted to be doing the first call for that Investigator Fellowship here shortly. And then finally, as we do in all of the other regions that we operate around the world, we have our scholarship program in EMEA for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. This is centered on our research lab in Cambridge, UK, the first lab that we opened outside of the United States. It too is a 3-year scholarship, a travel and living stipend, and includes the opportunity to have a mentor and collaborations with the research team in our Cambridge, UK lab. So really a very exciting lineup of fellowships and grants that I hope you'll take the time to get familiar with and encourage your students or other young faculty that you're familiar with to take a look at and evaluate. It has a tremendous history. We hope that it is just part of the environment that we can create that creates a really rich and collaborative partnership between MSR and academia. There's clearly a lot else going on with MSR. The questions I frequently get about, hey, how do I keep up with all that's going on? Hopefully, online is a great way for us to keep up. I've already mentioned the website, Microsoft.com/research, where you can see everything that we've going on across the programs in MSR labs around the world. We have a podcast series, which has proven to be very popular. It kind of helps you to get to know the individuals behind the research, as well as the path that has brought them to MSR and their areas of investigation. We're starting to do those actually now jointly between Microsoft researchers and their academic partners or their advisors, which is a lot of fun to sort of extend the journey and include our academic collaborators in the podcast series. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, there's lots of ways to stay in contact with us. There's an MSR newsletter that I hope you'll take the opportunity to subscribe to, as well as the MSR blog and our AI blog. So hopefully lots of ways to keep up to date on the lots of things that we have going on together as we produce really state-of-the-art research and pursue research of common interest.